Hi everyone, so I decided to quickly shoot this little unboxing. In fact, it's not that little because there are a lot of packages that arrived. I'll just go through it. I'll take this in one shot, so if this video is a bit different. If you don't like this video, please write it down in the comments below why you don't like it. I just think it's like cool to see what I order and what I'm going to do with it. So I'll try to explain a bit more about what I will be doing with the products that I ordered. So I'll quickly go through all of them. This will be in one shot unless the camera stops, because I think at around 15 minutes it stops and then I have to restart the order. So I'll go to the boxes. I think many of them won't be that interesting because it's a lot of mold making materials, infusion resins as well. So we start with the infusion resins. So I have 4 of them here, and then you get the hardener. So I always go for the slow hardener, because I think the fast is way too fast, so it's not possible to do an infusion, I think, like in around 20 minutes with degassing the resin in the degassing chamber and so on. So I always go for the slow for the infusion resin. For the laminating resin I always go with the fast hardener, and then I can always mix it with the slow if I want to. Next we have release agents. So this is my favorite release agent. I always choose this one. It's a chemical release agent over the wax, because I never had a part being stuck with that release agent. So that's why I ordered this one. Mold cleaner. So after demolding, I always try to sand the molds and just clean it with the mold cleaner, just to be sure there are no residues left on the mold after demolding. And then we have some other hardeners. Whoops. So I'll put everything back, because otherwise I won't have enough space on the table. What I always do, I do that after the video, is I always label all the products with the dates when the products arrive. So I'm always sure to use the oldest products first before using the new ones, just to make sure the products don't outdate while being stored. I think you have 1 year with the infusion resins, so that should be plenty of time just to consume all the infusion resin. So I'll just try to clean the table a bit. So this one is pretty obvious. I'm not going to even open it because I know what it is. If you order a box of the tackytap, you always get the box shipped like this. So I'm pretty sure there are, I think, 20 rolls of tackytap. And it's for around £50, so I think it's a good deal if you get there. And I always go through all of them within, I think, 6 months, because I'm doing a lot of infusions lately. So that's for the tackytap. Then next box, so it's a big heavy box as well. So what do we have here? So this is for the silicone. So I used the 2 silicone systems. So you have the, oh, it's something else. So that's the Unimould. And this is the high temperature, how it's called? Mold making paste. So I've did a video before using the mold making paste. And this one is a high temperature because I'm doing a lot of Prepreg as well now. So I'll try to make molds with this, and then I'll share it in a video. So this is for a future video. And we have 3 little bottles as well. So this is the hardener, so I'll have to add this to the paste. This is high temperature epoxy tooling gel coat, so I don't see the gel coat in here, but it will probably be in another box. And then we have the CS25 catalyst, so they have 2 types of silicone. One will be transparent, and that's the one I've used in the YouTube button tutorial. And then they have a blue one as well, which is cheaper, but has some limitations on, like, I would say, mold life. When I'm normally you shouldn't pour epoxy into silicone molds, because I think after around 10 till 15 times it will deteriorate. So that's why the transparent one, so it's the additional cure silicone rubber, I think it's a better one, but it's more expensive. So if you're just doing some small molds, you're okay with the CS25. But if you want to do some really good molds, then I would go for the additional pure silicone. So I'll put this back and go through the other boxes. When are the tutorials coming? So I'll just try to see, because I have a full-time job making parts, and then I do the tutorial videos as an extra, so I have a lot of videos coming, so don't worry. As you can see, I'm keeping this box as last, because I think this is the coolest one. And by the way, Easy Composites, like, when you ship things in such like tiny boxes, they aren't very strong, so the UPS guy was kind of mad. So if you're seeing this, do something on your boxes, because like everything gets damaged. But I don't have a big problem with the tins being damaged, because I mostly use them quite quickly. But it's sometimes a bit annoying. So if you see this, take notes. So what do we have? It's the general purpose polyester laminating resin. So what I'm using this resin for is, like, mostly when I'm making plugs for to make molds based on a polyurethane foam plug. I'm mostly coated with this resin with fiberglass on top, and then I use I have it here. And this is the magical stuff, so I really like this. So it's the pattern coat. It's very easy to sand. Easy Composites had a YouTube tutorial about it, I think about 1 or 2 years ago. Making I was thinking like an engine part or something like that. Starting with foam, then covering it with some Bondo. Then they go over it with the pattern primer. And the good thing, it's so easy to sand, it doesn't pluck up your sanding paper, so it's really a pleasure to use, and it cures quite quickly. I think after 1 hour, I would say, in high temperatures, you're able to sand and continue to the next layer. They also have I think it's called high gloss pattern coats, just to finish it with a high gloss. You can also spray it by gun if you're thinning it with some acetone. So I have a spray gun with a nozzle of 2.5, and it works like really good to use it that for. For the rest, we still have some. So we have the tooling gel coat. So I think in all of these boxes I've ordered 5 kilograms of the gel coat, 5 kilograms of the coupling coat, and then 30 kilograms of the tooling resin. So that's their Unimould system, and I tend to always go for that system when I'm making molds for customers or for the tutorials, as you could have seen in previous tutorials, because it's a stable resin. you can make a mold, I would say, in 1 day, and then just let it cure for a few days, and then you're sure you have a good mold. And worst case, you have some little repairs to do on the gel coat, but you're sure that the mold is stable, it will not warp or shrink or have some inconvenience problems after demolding. So that's why I'm always going for that system. And then we have another laminating resin. So I've ordered 10 kilograms. I'm not using it that often, but it's quite easy just to coat like a wooden piece or something. I'm working on a part for a friend now, and it's just MDF wood that has to be sealed against rain, weather, moist, and so on. So it's for a motorcycle part, and it's just like a hidden part, so it's quite easy just to brush it on with this cheap laminating resin. I think it's around 5 pounds per kilogram or less, not sure. You can find it on the website. Then I have some small boxes. I'll just open these a bit later. When I'm doing the other box, then the translucent pigments. Just to be sure there's nothing left in the box. Bring everything back. So, next. Paper again. I always tend to keep this when I'm sending parts to a customer. I use this paper, so it's a bit environmental friendly just to reuse it. It's paper as well, so I prefer this instead of the bubble foil, so I'm pretty happy with. So we have the other box now, the one I kept as last because this was a pretty regular order without much new stuff. But these are incredible. So I use these rollers on big foam patterns with the pattern primer and the gloss coat if I'm not using the spray gun. And these are rolling incredibly well. So in the DIY stores I never find the rollers that wouldn't leave any residues of the fibers of the rollers. And these are, like, if you can see, they're hollow on the insides, and it's incredibly fast to work with. There's not that much resin absorption by the roller, so yeah, I really like them. So I ordered them by 10 just to be sure to have enough of them, because sometimes you go through a few of these rollers because you have to throw them away. The pattern coating is extremely reactive, so with some McP hardener. So now I'm recording this on the 9th of August, and it was extremely hot in Belgium, and so I was just using 0.5% of McP just to be able to do everything in a half an hour. So then it started to cure, so it goes really quickly with the rollers in big volumes. Then we have some epoxy color white pigments. So I've uploaded a video today with the glass casts and making the arts piece, and I'll be mixing a bit more with that white because I really like the white color on these pieces in combination with blue, white, black, any colors, and you'll see in these boxes. That's why I'm keeping them as last. It's because these will be like a tool to make other glass casts pieces. Then we have high temperature epoxy tooling gel coats. So this will be in a video as well, in combination with the molds, high temperature mold making paste, just to show you how it's possible to make pre-preg ready molds in a very easy way, fast way. So that will be about that tutorial. So what else do we have? We have the coupling coat, so 5 kilograms. So how does the system work is you just apply the gel coat. You can do it by gun or by brush or roller. I never did it with a roller. And then you just wait, and I find that the gel coat cures quite slowly. So you just do the gel coats. Mostly it's better to do it overnight. So when you're leaving the workshop, for example, at 8, you just put on the gel coats. When you come back in the morning, you're able to apply the coupling coat. And the coupling coats, I think in around 1 hour, it's ready to go over with the Unimould tooling resin. So in that way you can win some time during the day by just being able to work in a continuous way. So another one of the tooling resin, and this is the additional pure silicone rubber. So this is the one I prefer. It's a bit more expensive, but it gets you a bit more pulse out of your mold. So I also used this one on the Ethereum logo. I did, and you can tint it with some colors. I mostly have red because I have a cup of this in red. I just have one color because I did the YouTube button, and then I thought it would be cool just to have the molds being red as well. And then this is the CS25 condensation cure silicone rubber, so that's the other one. Then we have another color, so it's motorway blue pigment, so for epoxy as well. So I'm going to use this in some castings. There's a river table coming as well, so I have the wood ready with a friend of mine, and I'll try to shoot it this week just to be able to upload it as soon as possible. Then we have these flitting wax on my Facebook page, and I think YouTube as well. I've heard a lot of Americans complaining, finding a hard way to find this. I think Stedler, it's a German company, I think, I'm not sure. They were selling it as well in blue color. But this is incredible stuff just to fill. When you're adding a flange onto a part, you're able just to round the flange with a bit of this. The only problem I found out is with the Unimould system that has some exothermal reaction while curing. It would melt the plasticine, I think it's called like that, just a bit, so it can leave some marks on your mold. Then you can just sand it out or just clean it with the mold cleaner, and then you're just fine. Or the best thing is to use hot soapy water just to remove all of this. So that's how I work, mostly with these things. Then we have I think you've already seen it, some wedges. Because these were added lately on the website, and I just wanted to try them. I've never seen them before, so just checking it now, and I can feel it's good quality, because I've ordered some on another website and it was just crap, because like when you're going under a flange of the mold, these edges mostly tend to break or snap or cut in between the flange. So I'm pretty happy to have some of these as well now. They have them in 2 sizes or 3 maybe. I think this is the large one and these are the small ones. So what I would mostly do is on small pieces I could go with these, and I just go around the entire flange and just adding just a bit more pressure on all the wedges, and then mostly the part just pops out at some point. And I've also seen we have some, I think it's called dabblers. I had my own, but now I'm going to try these. So this is for Prepreg, to be able to put the Prepreg into tight corners. So I'll let you know, because there's a tutorial coming about these things as well. Because here's another tutorial I'm working on. I'm almost ready with it, just need to record the Prepreg part. So I have two of these. These were made with the high temperature gel coats. So this one, and then I just backed it with some high temperature resin. So it's epoxy resin for high temperatures, backed with carbon fiber, so mostly leftovers I had, to be able to have molds like these. Then they go into a past curing cycle into the oven, and then you have molds ready for Prepreg. So that's another way. They also have the tooling Prepreg now, so it's black. Still working on the video, trying to get everything right. Then I have these fittings. This will be something cool. I'll add another video the day after I upload this about making like a vacuum system for inside the oven, procuring multiple bags on one vacuum pump for Prepreg. So I'll be mounting these together and show you the results in the video coming after this one. So that's about it. And then we have something cool. I've been waiting for these for a long time. Some friends asking me for these. It's mostly like for river tables. I think I will be able to include, like to mix these as well into a spray gun, being able to do some coloring work. With maybe airbrush, I will have to see how dense the powders are. But normally with a spray gun I should be able to mix it into the clear coats that I use, and then have some pearl paints made by myself with these cool colors. So I really like this. The only two colors that were out of stock were white and carbon black. So too bad I didn't order these, but I'll see in a later order to add these to my collection. And so this is new as well, so this is pretty cool. They also included the neon colors. So you have yellow, this is red, green, then there's magenta, no, pink, orange and blue. So I'll be trying these as well in some castings, and I'll show you the results later on when the videos come online. And then just a regular box with all the colors. I tend to use them a lot in the epoxy resins. In polyester it's possible, in polyurethane it's possible as well. I think they're compatible with polyester resins as well. But if you want to have a full color, like opaque, not transparent, you should go with these colors. So you have various options for different colors. Then we have a few big boxes. I think I know what's inside of this one. Make a big blade. This will probably be the Prepreg. Yeah, so that's right. So that's the Prepreg. It's the how it's called, the component Prepreg to make parts. So this is out of autoclave, and I just heard they reformulated the fibers. Before it was a 450, and now they're using a smaller weave, and it's a 415 grams square meter. So I'll see if it makes a difference. I'll be using these into the tutorials to make these parts and explain you guys how it's possible to make a prepreg mold from a non-prepreg, to make a prepreg ready mold from a non-prepreg ready mold to create the prepreg parts out of them. So the camera shut down. So the advantage of this is the high temperature epoxy. You're able to use a mold that you have that is not prepreg or high temperature ready, because I've used this on a polyester mold I had before. I'm able to apply the high temperature epoxy gel coat by brush, and then I'm just adding the resin. It's just like the laminating epoxy resin, but it's high temperature resistant. And then you just go through, so you demold, and then you go through a pause cure of going from 50 degrees till 120 or 130 over 16 hours. And that way this mold is now ready to accept prepreg and go to high temperatures into the oven. So this is pretty cool stuff. And the mold making pastes would probably make it easier and faster to make these, instead of having to brush them on with the resin and just using a roller and getting everything tight into the spaces. So this is the prepreg. I'll be using the prepreg in that video. Then there's one heavy box, and I'll try to see if I can just fit it on here, because it was very hard to move it up to the desk. So like it says, it's heavy. It's very heavy. Poor UPS guy. I'll just open it here and hope the rolls don't fall out, because I think I know what's inside. Okay. So we have, so this is a Satin Weave, so this is something new. Haven't used it before, so this is called 6x2 or 4/2, I think. So this should be easier to drape into a mold. So these are the things that you'll need for the mold making. They have the entire Unimould kit available, and you just can choose in between. I mostly order them separately, just because sometimes I need some more fiberglass or not. So this is the chopped strands 100. You get 20 meters of these, and this is the first layer after the gel coats in combination with the coupling coat. So first you use a 100 grams. The veal, so this is 30 grams chopped strands. This is mostly my last layer, just to avoid having some sharp edges after using the I think it's a 400 grams or 450, not sure. So this is a 450. I'll just check on the label. Yeah, so this is a 450 chopped strands fiberglass, and this is the one being used with the tooling resin. And mostly I go like 3 layers. If necessary, I take 4 layers, or add just reinforcements on the sides of the mold. Then we have infusion mesh. So this is so they have a 3D mesh. It's a knitted mesh that takes shapes easier, but this one gives better results on, I would say, flatter pieces when it's easier to drape the flow mesh. I mostly go for this one. Otherwise I'll go for the knitted one to avoid bridging, and yeah, so that's about it. So always when I'm infusing on plates, I'll be using this one because it's also absorbing less resin and, in my opinion, less air entrapments as well. And then this is the Vacuumbag. So this is like the most important thing, just to avoid having it being stuck into a box with staples. So I tend to find this annoying to have like the bagging tape into a box with staples, because as you can see, these are pretty sharp, and if they puncture the bag, then you're screwed like for the entire roll. So what I mostly do is I unroll this, and then I just, the first meter, I would not say I throw it away, but I use it for plates or less important parts, just to avoid having it being like punctured by moving the rolls, or while packaging them, or while being into the box. So I'll put this aside, and this is like the most precious thing, and the thing where you can lose most of your time on applying a big bag and then noticing there's a leak. And if it's not on the flange, then you're pretty sure it's somewhere punctured on the bag. And then that's probably why it was so heavy. This is 20 meters of 650 grams 12 weave carbon fiber. So this is my favorite carbon fiber because it's easy to lay down. I used this one in the lamp, desktop lamp tutorial for the coating, so the skinning tutorial. And I really like this one. It's very drapable. It's a nice weave. It's tight as a weave. So that's my first choice of carbon fiber. So that's it for the big box. And then as last, I think this is the 3D core. I don't remember what I've ordered. It was the 3D core or the PVC core, I'm not sure. Yeah, so this is the 3D core. I really like these. So this is a 5mm. I think it's 96 centimeters long on 50. And this is a product that works incredibly well on infusing parts that need some core, or PVC, but I prefer this one because these have flow channels taking the resin all the way through, and there's not that much resin absorption as in the Xpreg. Sometimes Xpreg will be better, but it's like making the right choices on the right moments. So I have about 10 of these, and these will probably be used in the tutorial as well. So that's about it for this like unboxing. Let me know what you think of this. Would you like me to go through some products in more detail? Just let me know. I'll try to make some videos about like focusing just on epoxy resins, when to use what resin, maybe go into some more detail about the mold making system. And if you would like me to do a Q&A or live video or something, just let me know in the comments. Let me know if I can make this YouTube channel just a little bit better, and I'll do my best to please all of you. So thanks for watching, and see you guys in the next video.